Good evening. I'm Joel Fluellen from the Elks Lodge 693 in Wisconsin Rapids. I'd like to welcome you tonight to our Flag Day ceremony. And I'd first like to unite and sing the Star Spangled Banner, sung by Alex Zuger.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, when the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, when the home of the brave?
Members and guests, the purpose of this service is to honor our country's flag, to celebrate the anniversary of its birth, and recall the achievements attained beneath its folds. It is quite appropriate that such a service should be held by the Order of Elks, an organization that is distinctly American, intensely patriotic, and without counterpart. Esteemed Lead Knight, what are the fraternal aims of the benevolent and protective Order of Elks?
To inculcate the principles of charity, justice, brotherly love, and fidelity, to promote the welfare and happiness of mankind, to uphold our country and its laws, and to quicken the spirit of American patriotism.
Esteemed Lead Knight, what is the significance of the American flag?
It is emblematic of the crowning virtue, charity.
Esteemed Loyal Knight, what is the significance of the American flag?
It is emblematic of justice for all.
Esteemed Lecturing Knight, what is the significance of the American flag?
It is the symbol of brotherly love.
Lodge Esquire, what is the significance of the flag from the station of the exalted ruler?
It is the symbol of fidelity.
Charity, justice, brotherly love, and fidelity are the cardinal principles of our order, and they are exemplified in all of our services. By them we teach love of country and our countrymen, and loyalty to our American way of life. To be an elk is to be an American citizen who lives for the country and is ready to die for it. The chaplain will lead us in prayer.
Almighty God, in the hour of patriotic observance of the birthday of the American flag, we ask you to bless our flag and the people of the United States. For all that our flag represents, both at home and abroad, we thank thee, and that through all our history as a nation, It has been an instant of freedom, liberty, and opportunity. And through the years to come, may this flag wave as a banner of liberty, freedom, and enlightenment. May this service bring to each of us a sense of loyalty to our country and enable us to be better patriots, truer citizens, and more loyal Americans. And to thy glory and to the honor of this great nation. Amen.
That we may better understand the meaning of our flag, I call upon Brother Dan Jackson for the history of the flag.
Heraldry is as old as the human race. The carrying of banners has been a custom among all peoples in all ages. These banners usually contain some concept of the life or government of those who fashion them. The evolution of the American flag marks the progression of the government of the American people. From the founding of Jamestown, Virginia in 1607 until 1775, the flag of England was the flag of the people of America. In 1775, the pine tree flag was adopted for all colonial vessels, and this banner was carried by the Continental forces in the Battle of Bunker Hill. The southern colonies from 1776 to 1777 used the snake flag. In the latter part of 1775, the Continental Congress appointed a committee to consider the question of a single flag for the 13 colonies. That committee recommended a design of 13 alternate stripes of red and white, with an azure field in the upper corner bearing the red cross of St. George and the white cross of St. Andrew. John Paul Jones, the senior lieutenant of the flagship Alfred, hoisted this flag to the masthead on December 3, 1775. 1 month later, it was raised over the headquarters of General Washington at Cambridge, Massachusetts, in compliment, as he wrote, to the United Colonies. This flag, called the Continental Colors and the Grand Union, was never carried in the field by the Continental Land Forces, but it was used by the Navy as its exclusive ensign, and was the first American flag to receive a salute of honor, a salute of 11 guns from the Fort of Orange in the Dutch of Wales. In response to a general demand for a banner more representative of our country, the Congress, on June 14, 1777, provided that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes of alternating red and white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white on a blue field, representing a new constellation. It is generally believed that in May or June of 1776, a committee consisting of George Washington, Robert Morris, and George Ross commissioned Betsy Ross, a Philadelphia Quakeress, to make a flag from a rough design that they had left with her. It is said that she suggested that the stars should have 5 points rather than 6. This starry banner was first flown at Fort Stanwix, called Fort Schuyler at the time, near the city of Rome, New York, on August 3, 1777, and was under fire 3 days later at the Battle of Oransky, August 6, 1777, during a British and Indian attack. The first official salute to the Stars and Stripes was given on February 14, 1778, by France on the French coast, when the Ranger, under command of John Paul Jones, was saluted by the French fleet. This flag, then carried by the Ranger, was made by young women of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, from the stripes of their best colored silk dresses and the white wedding gown of a recent bride. It is said that this same Ranger's flag was flown by Jones' ship, the Bonhomme Richard, in its thrilling fight by moonlight upon the high seas, with the British frigate Serapis When the Serapis struck her colors, the immortal fame of John Paul Jones was ensured as the intrepid defender of the youthful republic. The original 13 Stars and Stripes represented the original 13 colonies. In 1795, 2 additional Stars and Stripes were added to represent admission to the Union of Vermont and Kentucky. Under this banner of 15 Stars and Stripes was fought the War of 1812. It was the sight of it flying over Fort McHenry on September 14, 1814, that inspired Francis Scott Key to write what has become our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Miss Margaret Young, who cut the stars for that particular banner, was the mother of Henry Sanderson, the grand exalted ruler of the Order of the Elks in 1884. The Congress on April 14, 1818, adopted a resolution that on and after July 4th, 1818, the number of stripes should be 13, and that the blue field should carry 1 star for each of the 20 states in the Union, and that a new star should be added for each state hereafter admitted. Since 1818, there has been no change in the flag design, except that 28 new stars were added before July 4th, 1912. This flag of 48 stars flew over this nation for 47 years until just before the Vietnam War. On July 4th, 1959, a star was added for Alaska, our first non-connected state, and a year later, Hawaii, our island state, added a 50th star. Our present flag, 50 stars and 13 stripes, is accompanied by the POW MIA flag to recognize the plight and demise of a special group of our armed services who were prisoners of war or still remain missing in action.
When we salute our flag, this emblem is first in our hearts as loyal Americans, so it is close to our altar as loyal Elks. The gentle breezes with lingering caress kiss the folds of no flag which can compare with its beauty. There is no such red in a budding rose, in falling leaf of sparkling wine, no such white in April blossoms, in crescent moon or mountain snow, no such blue in woman's eye, in ocean's depth or heaven's dome, and no such pageantry of clustering stars and streaming light in all the spectrum of the sea and sky. Our flag is at once a history, a declaration, and a prophecy. It represents the American nation as it was at its birth. It speaks for what is today, and it holds the opportunity for the future to add other stars to the glorious constellation. The Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks is the first and only fraternal body to require formal observance of Flag Day. In July of 1908, the Grand Lodge of this order at Dallas, Texas, then assembled, provided for the annual nationwide observance of Flag Day on the 14th of June in each year, by making it mandatory upon each subordinate lodge of the order. This unique distinction as the strongest promoter of Flag Day is most becoming of the Order of Elks. This order is distinctly American. Only American citizens are eligible to join it, and it has no foreign affiliations. It has linked its destiny with the destiny of our country and made this flag its symbol of self-dedication to God, to country, and to fellow men.
The Stars and Stripes, flag of the United States of America, the worldwide hope of all who, under God, would be free to live and do His will. Upon its fold is written the story of America, the epic of the mightiest and noblest in all history. In the days when peoples of the old world groveled in abject homage to the heresy of the divine right of kings, a new constellation appeared in the western skies, the Stars and Stripes, symbolizing the divine right of all to life, liberty, happiness, and peace under endowment by their Creator. To what man or woman is given words adequate to tell the story of the building of this nation? That immortal story is written in blood and sweat, in heroic deeds and unremitting toil, in clearing the primeval forests and implanting the vast prairies where once the coyote and buffalo roamed. Onward swept the nation, spanning wide rivers, leaping vast mountain ranges, leaving in its path villages and farms, factories and cities, till at last this giant nation stood astride the continent, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. This is the heritage of the people of the United States. It has been repurchased by each succeeding generation and must be re-won again and again and again until the end of time, lest it too shall pass like the ancient empires of Greece and Rome. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. That was won at Lexington and Concord and Bunker Hill and had to be repurchased at Ticonderoga and Yorktown. When John Paul Jones achieved upon the high seas in the War of Independence, had to be repurchased by Commodore Perry on Lake Erie in the War of 1812. The prestige of Admiral Dewey's victory at Manila Bay in 1898 was re-won by the naval battles in the seas about the far distant islands of the Pacific after the sneak attacks upon Pearl Harbor and Manila in 1941 had summoned our country to assume its role in World War II. What our troops achieved under the Stars and Stripes at Chateau Thierry and Flanders in World War I, their sons were required to repurchase in World War II in the bloody trek across North Africa, on the beachheads of Europe, and in the Battle of the Bulge. The flag of our American men raised at Iwo Jima was the same flag later raised in the defense of Incheon, Pusan, and Pork Chop Hill in far-off Korea. Then another generation under the same flag bled to stem the threat of communism in far-off Vietnam. Our young people were again called to carry our flag in defense of a free world in the actions in Grenada and Panama. Willingly, our brave men and women carried our flag in honor of the American people into the battle of Operation Desert Storm. And who among us will ever forget the sight of the firefighters raising our flag over the ruins of the World Trade Center, the military personnel draping our flag on the side of the Pentagon, or the citizens of Somerset County, Pennsylvania, placing our flag near the site where brave Americans died fighting the hijackers of Flight Number 93. No other symbol could have offered such comfort as we still, today, endure the horrors of that day. Today, American Armed Forces carry our flag in the villages of Iraq, the mountains of Afghanistan, and the jungles of the Philippines, and wherever terrorism may reside. Their struggle against the sponsors of terrorism is the hardest battle yet, and this threat to our nation and to our way of life is certainly as great a challenge as our flag has ever seen. The resurgence of patriotism since September 11, 2001 has rekindled respect for our flag. Today, we see the Star-Spangled Banner wherever we turn, on homes, businesses, automobiles, and billboards. Such displays stimulate our love for our nation and for what it stands for. They remind us of the sacrifices being made by the men and women of our armed forces around the world, and they are a tribute to the heroes of the police and fire departments the nation over. The greatest significance of this flag, however, lies in the influence it has in the hearts and minds of millions of people. It has waved over the unparalleled progress of a nation in developing democratic institutions, scientific and technical knowledge, education, and culture. It has served as a beacon for millions of poor and oppressed refugees abroad and stands as a promise that the underprivileged will not be forgotten. What is the meaning of the flag of the United States? There can never be a definitive answer to that question. There are people in this world who see it as a symbol of imperialism. Others see it as a destiny of the people. But reference to these and similar views of the flag was resolved by Woodrow Wilson when he said, "This flag, which we honor and under which we serve, is the emblem of our unity, our power, our thought, and shape of this nation. It has no other character than that which we give it from generation to generation. The choice is ours. Only true love of our fellow man can create peace. The emblem and token of that love is the Stars and Stripes, the symbol of the American way of life.
Lodge Esquire, how shall we further honor our flag?
The flag is formally honored by the Pledge of Allegiance. This pledge was written in 1892 by Francis Bellamy and published in the Youth's Companion as part of a patriotic campaign of that magazine. The pledge did not become part of the flag code until 1942, and in 1954 the phrase "under God" was added.
Let us all stand and pledge ourselves never to forget the principles represented by this flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, look. Ready, grip.
I would like to thank the Knights of Columbus Honor Guard for coming here tonight to celebrate Flag Day with us. Also, VFW Post 2534, Vietnam Veterans Chapter 101, and also the Scout troops who are in front of us. In conclusion of this observance of Flag Day, let us rededicate ourselves to the flag of the United States of America, and may the principles of charity, justice, brotherly love, and fidelity ever increase in each of us. In closing the service of the Elks, I would like to introduce Lieutenant Leahy of the 1st Battalion, 120th Field Artillery in Wisconsin Rapids. Lieutenant Colonel Leahy.
Jumped up a couple ranks. That's okay. Lieutenant's fine, because I was a lot younger when I was a lieutenant, so I'd be happy to do that. But thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, Elks Lodge members, the veteran service organizations, Knights of Columbus, and scouting groups out there. I'm honored to be here representing the 120th Field Artillery, which has been a part of the Wisconsin Rapids community for more than 100 years, as we serve in the Wisconsin Army National Guard. To many, myself included, Flag Day is about patriotism. Patriotism does not know race, creed, color, or age, but sometimes it's helpful to remind people of the exceptional nature of this country and its flag. And that's why Flag Day is so important. As we mentioned before, the Second Continental Congress adopted the flag of the United States by resolution on June 14, 1777. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson, who had been lobbied strongly by the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks, issued a proclamation officially establishing June 14th as Flag Day. Although it's not a federal holiday, it is observed in communities across our great nation. President Wilson said, "The things that the flag stands for were created by the experiences of a great people. Everything that it stands for is written by their lives. The flag is the embodiment, not of sentiment, but of history." Wilson's proclamation was due in part to a long campaign started by Benjamin Seagrund. In 1885, Seagrund was a 19-year-old school teacher in a one-room school in Waubeka, Wisconsin, near Milwaukee. He placed a 10-inch 38-star flag in inkwell and had students write essays on what the flag meant to them. Flag Day isn't simply about honoring a particular design on a cloth. It is more about taking time to reflect on our freedoms and the principles of our great nation, for which that flag stands. The flag is a reminder of who we are. In his essay, The Meaning of Our Flag, 19th century American clergyman and social reformer Henry Ward Beecher wrote, our flag carries American ideas, American history, and American feelings, beginning with the colonies and coming down to our time in its sacred heraldry and its glorious insignia that has gathered and stored chiefly the supreme idea, divine right of liberty in man. Every color means liberty. Every thread means liberty. Every form of star and beam or stripe of light means liberty. Not lawlessness, but organized institutional liberty. Liberty through law and laws for liberty. Feature continues. This American flag was a safeguard of liberty. Not an atom of crown was allowed to go into its insignia. Not a symbol of authority in the ruler was permitted to go into it. It was an ordinance of liberty by the people, for the people. That it meant, that it means, by the blessing of God, that shall mean to the end of time. To me personally, the flag represents the best attributes and people this country has to offer. Many public safety agencies wear flags on the uniforms. The flag on the uniform stands as a symbol of their civic role and responsibility, not just as officers of the municipalities they serve, but as citizens of these United States. As a member of the military, I wear a flag in my duty uniform. The American flag proudly flies over our bases and embassies around the world. Seeing the American flag flying in foreign lands reminded me of home and the people and ideals I served. In schools across the country, teachers carry on the example set by Benjamin Segrin as they lead their students in the Pledge of Allegiance at the start of each school day. I'd like to end my portion of the program with the words of President Calvin Coolidge as he discussed rights and duties. We do honor to the stars and stripes as the emblem of our country and the symbol of all that patriotism means. We identify the flag with almost everything we hold dear on earth. It represents our peace and security, our civil and political liberty, our freedom of religious worship, our family, our friends, our home. See it in the great multitude of blessings, of rights and privileges that make up our country. But when we look at our flag and behold it emblazoned with all our rights, we must remember that it's equally a symbol of our duties. Every glory that we associate with it is a result of duty done. A yearly contemplation of our flag strengthens and purifies the national conscience. And to me, that's why we celebrate Flag Day. Thank you.
The Elks Lodge invites everyone down to the lodge for some light refreshments. So you're invited down there. And also I'd like to thank American Legion Post 442 for joining us tonight. I now declare the service closed. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.